What up, brothers? Is the reviewer Grinch returning for another new review for my channel on the second figure that was kindly lent to me by Owen-Scott Montague. The first figure being the Freddie Mercury, which I reviewed yesterday and is now up on my channel. If you haven't checked that out, please have a look, because that is a beautiful piece also. The second, obviously, is the Grinch, as you can see, and it's made by Iron Gate Artisan, as it says on the box. A lot of you guys will also know that it's sculpted and created, I think, by MG2065. So massive thanks to Owen for letting me see this figure. I will say as well, and most of you guys can read me, if I'm buzzing about a figure, you can normally see in a review. If I'm a bit downbeat on a figure, then I can't wait to get it reviewed and get it out of here, sort of thing. It is the former with this. I am buzzing to see it. I've got about 5 or 6 nice poses planned for this figure, and if I can get them in all them poses, then I'm going to enjoy working with this figure. And like I say, it just means a lot that Owen would even trust me to see these figures, because the combined value is sky high. So massive shout out to him. I will tell you at this point the background work I've done on this. I've obviously seen the film, but I will say it was quite a long time ago when it first come out. What is about 13, 14-year-old. I've seen it with kids, probably a couple of, or bits of it with the kids a couple of times since. Obviously gets shown most Christmases. I think it is a nice little film. Also, I watched Stiff Richard's review on it, which I think he did a really good job on it. Told me a lot of information I wouldn't have known. And like I said, and other than that, if I ever borrow a figure, I'll always talk to the person who sent it. Hey, can you tell me what it cost you? Can you tell me what you like about it, or what you dislike about it? Is there any problems with it? Blah blah blah. Who did it, and so on and so forth. So the background information I basically know is it was released, like I said, by Iron Gate Artisan, and MG is Mike Garver. Other than that, I don't know the artist at all. I'd not heard about him until I started researching this figure, so I've got no way or no reason to lean one way or another and give a biased review, because like I said, it's not an artist I'm familiar with. And I hope you don't take that as like a little poke at him that I have heard of other artists, because that's not the case. It's just not a field I've turned in before. So that is sort of the background research I've done. I think what we'll do is we'll have a little look at how I've got him set up. You know I don't normally chuck the accessories on this early in a review, but I just wanted to show him because it just creates a nice little scene with a bauble hanging off his finger, sack over his shoulder, looking beautiful. So yeah, the fact as well that this figure has 2 heads, it is going to help my pose options. So just keep your eyes out for some nice sweet pose. I think I might get some photos as well and throw them up on Facebook for you all to appreciate, because this is not a figure that every fucker and the granny's reviewed. Only select few are going to get to review this bad boy, so recognise. Right, let's stop bullshitting and let's get on with scoring this bitch up. Right, onto source material. Like I said, I watched this film all the way through, sort of just after it come out. I never went to the cinema to see it. I saw it probably by the time it came to DVD at the time. Watched it, thought it was pretty good. I kind of like Jim Carrey. He's had a few films I really like. I do like his sort of kind of slapstick throwback comedy, and I think he's the perfect casting for this. In parts of the film, even the clips I've checked leading up to this, he does play it a little bit sort of sterner than he did in The Mask, which I can understand, but also wish he'd have gone a little bit more extreme, if that makes any sense. But obviously the Grinch is a grumpy bastard, and like I said, pretty much tips his cap to the Ebenezer Scrooge, created by Charles Dickens from the Christmas Carol story, obviously, so he can't go too fucking madcap. But I don't know, all in all, I would consider it a kids film, obviously, and like I said, my kids have watched it. My youngest daughter actually is scared of the Grinch still, and what is she now? She's nearly 13. No, she's nearly 12. Fucking hard to think. That's when you get an old, pal, and and your mind's going. Yeah, she's nearly 12, and this is my son's bedroom, as you know. She slept in here because my son's in Turkey at the moment. And as soon as she come in and got in bed last night, she went, "You can move that bastard out of there. I'm not sleeping with me looking down on me." And I thought, right, I'll move it. So I did. I took it out of the cabinet, and I don't know, she I think she'll watch the film if somebody else is weird, but she is scared of the Grinch. I don't fucking understand it. But like I said, I have watched it with him at times, and it's okay. I think there's other Christmas films I prefer, but it is pretty good. I think also as well, it would be more well known in America. I think the Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat, and obviously the Grinch would be characters typically American, I would think. But obviously we would all know it also. To give it a source material, it's a funny one because, like, to be honest, because it's not really a genre film I look forward to seeing. I pretty much watch it because I've got to watch it with the kids. They're not films I would choose to see. It's like Shrek, as good as it is. I find it funny to sit down and watch it myself because I'm thinking to myself constantly, this is a fucking kids film, what are you doing? But that is just my sort of fucking insecurities in my brain. I'm going to go straight down the middle of the road with this and give it a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad film, but it's not a classic either in my mind. So like I say, I think I can please all parties by saying on the source material, we'll give it a 3 out of 5. Moving on to packaging, and I'll do this pretty quick because there's not a lot to see. Obviously it's considered a custom figure, so your artwork is going to be limited. It does just feature the company name, as I said at the beginning. And obviously on the sort of motif, you've got the M and the G here, and then the Iron Gate Artisan. I don't fully understand how it works. I understand it is a company and that Mike is either head of it or part of it. I don't know, so I don't want to get out false information. That is pretty much information from Owen. Like I say, I don't know him, so I'm not going to try and pass off as if I'm a fucking expert, because that's not the case. The box is pretty plain, in fact very plain, other than the artwork. It's just a white laminated card box. It's decent quality, but obviously not massively presentable, but it is functional. If I just take off the lid, I'll show you what I mean by that. That everything you get, which is quite a lot for a custom figure, is housed really well. So yeah, individual slots for everything, sort of the laser cut foam, all the parts in. So yeah, it is functional, but not massively presentational. It's not that I've seen this box replicated over and over again either. So I am going to give it a 2 out of 5 because it serves a purpose. Right, rolling on to likeness. And I don't like to ruin the suspense in these reviews, but I can tell you at this point, that's the weak categories out of the way, and they weren't even that weak. I'd still consider them average scores. So let's get on to the strengths of where your money goes on this bad boy. So we'll move in, show you I've put the second sculpt in as well, because I will be swapping it out. I'll show you the pose. He's got him nice and upright, back of his hands on his hips, looking all festive with his sen he is, lad. Got the Christmas hat on. It's a lovely Christmas smile, look at that. He's happy. He's looking fucking maniacal, that's where he's looking. Beautiful. So let's get in. Let's get some light on situation so we can all see what we're dealing with. Right. From the information I've got from Owen, this is pretty much as is. He didn't give me no information about whether it's been repainted, so I would understand that if this is what you ordered initially, this is what you got. I know the reason I say that is because Stiff Richards mentioned that it had his repainted by Silent Surfer, which to each their own. If that's what you want to do, then that's up to you. But what I will say is, and like I said, on the understanding that this one hasn't been repainted, what I can tell you is the factory one is really good anyway. So I don't understand why you would have it repainted. But like I said, it might have something to do with trying to match the fur to the hands and face. Could have something to do with that. Again, I don't know. Because the way I understand it is there's 2 different versions of this, an initial release of 12 and then a secondary release of 12, and I think there might be a variant in the fur colour. And the reason I also say that is because this, I think, is the second release with a lighter fur, but Owen has actually just texted me and said that he has also got a new full fur suit in the post. Now I don't know why he's got another suit coming, but like I said, I'm only going to review what is in hand here. So like I said, going back to the initial point I'm making, the paintwork on it and sculpt to me is very accurate and very, very nice and natural looking. I'm not even going to say I hope my lighting and my camera's doing it justice, because as I'm seeing it through the viewfinder, it still looks fucking amazing. It captures the yellow in the eyes. Or it's not so much bright yellow, let's just say off-white. The light coloured lip, variant shades of green. The expressions fucking rock my world, I'll be honest, because they are varied to each other, and like I said, it helps with the pose. If it had just been one head sculpt, then it'd still have been good, but you'd miss out on certain things you want to do. I will say as well at this point, it is actually officially known as the Ouville Menace, and the reason I say that is because this head sculpt, he does look like a fucking menace. He's got that mischievous look on his face, and I do really like how it's sculpted, and like I said, the paintwork on it is really good also. I'm going to tell you the score, because obviously you can see with your own eyes, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Like I say, it's custom, so I'm assuming it is hand painted, but I don't know that for sure, so don't misquote me. So I'm going to give you the score and tell you I've given it a 5 out of 5, because I can't see any way that it falls down. Might have one niggly nitpick, but I'm not even going to take that into account with the score, because I'm seeing a second-hand figure, so to speak. So if I show you what I mean, then this is why I'm not going to knock the score off. As you can see, I've got the Christmas hat on, and it looks fucking awesome. You can have it sat different ways. It will fit on the head. You can rotate it. You can move the fur about, make it look more natural or whatever. You can tip it, sort of lean it back, or no, I can't do it one-handed, but the jaunty angle you put it at is how you decide. So I do like that. The hat also is made of the same fur as this, but I will come back to that when I get to the clothing. The point I'm making is, if I take that off, to be able to put the head on, you have to take off. As you can see, this one's got like a curl at the front, which is very accurate looking, and I've gone and fucked up and been very unprofessional here, because the little curl were on there. As you can see inside there, the little magnet which connects to that, so that would fit into there. This might be tricky to do one-handed as well. Just try and do it best I can. We are fucking all up. Right, so it fits back in there. With the style of the hair, the seam is not obvious. Bearing in mind, I've got an HD camera, and the lens is about an inch away from the sculpt, so you're gonna see it. With a human eye, sort of, I'm that distance from the figure, and I don't notice it. Again, same on the other one. I am glad they did it. Like I say, I understand that it would bring a problem because you're putting it on and off sort of thing, but I am glad they did it because it's worth it to have the Christmas hat as well. Now, the point I was going to make is, and I don't know if this is with taking it on and off, sort of a little bit of paint wear just underneath there, and that is it. That is as minor as it is, and like I say, I'm guessing it didn't even come out of factory like that. Chances are it's been done over time. The other thing is, like, it's not, so you don't get it on that, a little bit there, but like I say, I think that's because that's where the seam would be. I'm sure it didn't come out of factory or came from the seller like that. I think that is probably what happened over time. So that is why I'm not going to knock it down, because I think if you would have bought this, it'd have come packaged up. When you got it, you'd have been buzzing your tits off. So yeah, awesome head sculpts, both of them. For the sake of the review, I'm just going to leave it in that pose, but I'm going to swap it out because I'll show how the two different expressions will work still in both poses. And then the grumpy fuckhead. Look at that. Still works. Still looking good. So like I say, really, really easy. 5 out of 5. Rolling on to his outfit. I'll just show you the pose first. And I'll tell you why that pose were a bitch to do. Down to his outfit. Right. I will also mention the hat, and that's why I've put it here. Right, so what am I including in the outfit? Obviously the Christmas jacket, which is a really soft kind of velvet. Nice nice flock feel to it. And then down onto the faux fur cuffs. And then the collar. And then down the front. Very Santa Claus feeling, obviously. Very accurate looking. Nice and vibrant. I do really like it. It moves really well. and it doesn't hinder the articulation at all, which is one of the fun things about this figure. You can get pretty mental pose-wise, particularly upper body. So yeah, the belt is a really nice faux leather. I can show you the grain in it. The real metal loops, although the buckle is false, so to speak, because as you can see, the hole don't go in, no big problem. There is also a loop that the belt goes through. Again, it looks really good. I'm also including the fur on the legs, and I really like this. And like I say, I'm a little bit confused as to why Owen would have ordered another fursuit, because what I like about it is the colour on this one does match the face with the legs, so I can't see that it's a colour issue. I do like the fact that it's like it's green fur on a sort of either a darker green or a brown suit, which is good because, you know, when you stroke your dog and closer you get to his skin, his fur colour changes. That's the impression I get when I see this. So it does look really accurate and how I picture the Grinch's fur to be. So I do really like that. Again, moving down to his ankle, so to speak, it has the faux fur again round, which is supposed to come across as the top of the boots. Now, the boots are sculpted, and we are talking about too much. The bottom of the leg is a ball joint, and then there's an ankle section into a sculpted boot, which I think looks good, and the match of the red is really good. The size and obviously the bell motif on the end looks really good. So appearance wise, I really like it. Two things that I'm sort of not sure on. I'm not going to say I'm not keen, because I can understand why they've done it like this. The peg is very loose in the foot, so it will, this one particularly, it makes it hard to that, because look how loose it is. I'm hardly moving my finger. And also, because it is a sculpt, it's hard against this hard thing, so there's no traction. So as I was trying to stand it on its tiptoes, it's just sliding down. Do you get what I mean? And I think as well, there would have been a way where they could have took an existing boot or an eye top or whatever, sculpted over it, or even wrapped it in this material. I think that would have been an option, and I think I might have preferred it if that's the case. But because they did do the sculpted boot, like I say, it does look accurate and it does look good enough, but that would be my only niggle on the outfit. Again, on the hat, it does match. I would say it is the exact same material for the Santa style hat, with a white faux fur. Does fit on the head, customised to the head sculpts obviously, when the curls took off. And again, when it's all dressed, it does look really good. I think the particular thing I like is the fur legs, because they could have tried to sculpt legs similar to how they'd done the head, but obviously then the articulation would suffer, and I would think that it'd chip really easy with the movement in the legs. So I think they have done the best idea, and I do really like it. When I said it hinders it a little bit, just a little bit in the crotch, so he won't do a really deep split. I think he would do like a crouch, but not open his legs too wide, because of obviously with the seams in the fursuit, so to speak. But I do really like it. I definitely like how it looks. I mean, that looks beautiful. Like, once it's posed, obviously the new Goblin stand is taking all the weight, and if you had your dynamic hot toy stand, you could use that as well to help with your pose, and it would take all the weight of the figure, so it don't really matter about the lack of traction on the bottom of the shoes. But like I said, when I was trying to pose it in that, the figure's sort of trying to move down and the shoes aren't gripping, so that's, like I said, that's more my issue than an issue with the figure. So to score it up, again, I can't think of any way where they could have done it better other than the boots, but for what it is and how it stands, I think they've done a really good job. And like I said, the fursuit on the legs is a right touch of genius for me. So I am going to give the outfit a 5 out of 5 also, because like I said, if I can't really talk it down, then somebody would say, well, what would you change? And then, like I said, the only thing I would change is the boots, and I can still understand, and if it were me doing it, I would have still come back and probably done it like this anyway. So yeah, on the outfit, I'm also giving it a 5 out of 5. Rolling on to articulation, or the body in general. Before we start, Just move back, show you how I've got him. He's getting all Tony Montana-y, son. He's pulled up a pew, and he's having a little sit down, got his legs crossed. He's got Max there at side of him like a good little lad, sat there obedient, listening. Still got the sort of the frowning face on, and that is beautiful. Look at that. Nice. So, pretty much, although he's sat down, I'm showing the articulation because you get a nice tight bend all around the body. It does feel like a true type under there to me, because the movement, again, like I always say, is smooth but still tight at the joint. The parts that have been customised, so to speak, so the head sculpt fit onto the ball joints really well. I will also say as well that the head sculpt that we're on had got a bit of like blue tack inside. I think that would be to stop it moving easier or just to make it more secure. The blue tack is not on at the moment because I took it off while I was swapping the heads on and off. So I don't know if that is advisable with the custom head sculpts. I don't know. But obviously it will hold on without the blue tack, but I wanted to mention that. So like I said, it does go onto the ball joint neck, and obviously you still get articulation at the top of the neck and the bottom. The shoulders move really well, elbows are double bend. The hand sculpts fit on like a normal hand sculpt. Crunch, rotation through the waist, double bend knees, and then down to the ball joints going on to the feet. I will show the feet. So like I said, it's a ball joint into the plastic ankle section, which is the white section here just at the side of my finger, and then that is sculpted inside the boot. I will say it is a little bit loose, but when it's stood up and you've got it balanced, it does hold nicely, although if you had it with like a foot off at floor, it might flop around a little bit. That would be my only niggle with the body. Other than that, it's really good. And like I said, the only place where the suit actually hinders the articulation is in the crutch section. You couldn't do a really wide split. So the body, again, there's nothing I can really pull it down for, because the custom parts that they put on it, they've thought about, we've got to still make it work correctly, and they have done that. So massive respect to them. Nowhere I can pull it down, so again, and this is going to look very favourable on this figure, but the truth is the truth, and I can't put a problem where there isn't one. So I am going to tell you that on the body and articulation, again, it's got a 5 out of 5. Moving on to extras and accessories. What does the Grinch bring with him? If I just pull back, you can see in a pose offering gifts, and for a custom figure, I think he does bring a really nice array of extras. You've got pretty much every base covered, so massive shout out for that. I'm going to also cover the value, because I'm starting to feel now that the extras is it's a sort of pivotal part of when it leads to bang for the buck. How much are you getting for your money and that sort of thing. So that's why I normally would do both together, because I'm going to be covering both bases in both topics, so to speak. So let's talk extras first. Show you the pose again. Just give you some pose ideas so you know what this bitch will do. So looking sweet, got his feet crossed over, looking nice, and his hand just showing the parcels that's come out of the sack. So the most important extra for me, you know what I'm going to say, is a secondary head. If it weren't as good as the first head, or it weren't different enough, then I wouldn't rank it so highly. But because you're pretty much going from massive smile to the sort of the lip curled frown, so to speak, very characteristic, very, very good. Because both are equally as good, sculpt and paint, it's a massive score jump for me when it comes to extras. Like I say, it makes you pose, it gives them life if the expression's good, and these really, really are. So yeah, massive boost on that. The dog, Max, now I've got to say, it is a nice looking piece, and it's pretty accurately captured. Let's have a good look at him, because I'm not showed him yet. But I am also going to pick up on a couple of nitpicks here, or a couple of problems. Owen honestly pointed these out to me, because I might not have noticed them. But I will show you. Obviously, it's just a sculpted piece. There's no articulation on it. But he said the tail had broke at some point there, which you can see. Get some fucking light on this situation. Obviously, it's just glued back on. And he said in a couple of places there is slight paint wear. So I can see one here, a little bit here on the leg, a little bit here on the ears. So like I said, Owen did tell me about that. Not a massive nitpick, and I'm not really going to cane it because of that, because I think because of the material it's made of and the paint on top of that, because it is a very sort of unforgiving material, I would think clipping it against side something is going to not chip it, but I don't think it's chipped, I think it's wore sort of thing. And obviously because of how fine the tail goes, or how narrow the tail goes, and then opens up sort of in this area, I would think that if you catch that or drop it somewhere, it's going to break pretty easy. I would think the same thing would happen here as well. So I've handled that with care and hardly even touched it, if I'm honest. So it is a really nice extra, and I think it is a good companion piece. But like I said, look at, if you were to buy one secondary, I would think ask if there is any markings to the dog. Chances are there possibly is, but I would then use it as a way to negotiate the price down slightly, because you might have to have it repainted. So yeah. Normally a custom figure doesn't come with a base. This one does. Now I don't know if this came with it, and the reason I say that is because there's no cutaway in the box for it, or if this stand's been added after the fact. But like I said, I always review what's in hand at the moment, so I'm taking into account that this stand did come with it. Nice decals, as you see. It's a different style of decal as well to what I normally get, because it's like, mine are normally a one-piece sticker. This isn't. It's sort of, it feels either painted on or it is individual letters stuck on sort of thing. So it does look really nice, really eye-catching as well. Only one spare hand, which is a sculpted hand on a standard peg. Really nicely done, sculpt and paint again. I think the hands are really characteristic. Possibly could have asked for a couple more. I always say that, and I think it might only be me and Morris that even says this. And the only reason is because more hands means more poses. You can have him holding more stuff, or like a gesturing hand, or so on and so forth. I always ask it. It doesn't always come, and it don't piss me off that much, but certain figures, if they've got an accessory and they can't hold them because they haven't got the hand, then it's a problem. On this, it's not really. But like I said, the hands you get are good, but a couple more would have been nice. The Christmas bauble, or ornament, or Wrestling ball, whatever you want to call it. Again, nicely done in scale. And he has got an hand, that one, if you turn it upside down, that will hold it. So I do like that as well, because it's like the poster shot where he's holding that. So again, nicely done. Moving on to the 4 gifts or presents, or whatever you want to call them. They are wrapped like a proper one would. It's just obviously a square block wrapped. I'm glad that they wrapped it as well and not sculpted it and then painted it, because with the bow and the wrapping paper, it does make them look really authentic, and I do like it. And I do like the fact I've checked all these and they're not ripping or like pulling out of position at all. I do like them. Moving on to the brown sack, which again is nicely done. It has a drawstring top with a white rope, as you can see. Inside as well, I really like the fact that it has got the sort of the stuffing inside, so the bag looks full even though there is only 2 presents inside. Also, if you wanted to make it look like it was only carrying them presents, then you've got the choice to pull the stuffing out. So I do like that. I will say the material on it is like sort of a faux suede, and I do really like it because it is good scale. It is fine, so it looks in good scale with everything else. The Santa style art, which I've spoke about in the outfit, and then just moving on to the paperwork, so to speak. There is this A4 sheet of sort of care and precautions. As you see, 1/6 Oval Menace care and assembly instructions. Always nice to have that printed out, I suppose. And it's good to see that these customizers are thinking, because sometimes you don't get stuff like this. You don't get instructions on how to assemble things or what to take care of, whatever, so it looks good. And it's not hard to do, let's be honest. It's just Microsoft Word, and you just print out 24 or however many figures you've done. The nice touch on it, for me, say all the instructions, it has been a little message to Owen, and I will read it. Dear Owen, thanks for your order, buddy. I hope you enjoy the Menace. Obviously, for licensing reasons, can't call him the Grinch, so it is the Oval Menace. As you can see, signed it Mike, MG2065. Nice touch, and it shows that Mike actually cares that you've spent your money with him. I do like that. And then obviously, most custom pieces will come with a certificate of authenticity. As you can see, I've left this one in the bag. Iron Gate Artisan, certificate of authenticity, 1/6 Oval Menace. You see, shows it's real. again signed, MG2065, and this is number 11 of 12 from the second batch. So really, really good, and particularly for a custom figure, I can't think of a custom figure that came as a set that probably brought as much as this and were the quality of this. So what else would I have wanted? Let me think. Maybe a couple more bags, and maybe if Max had not chipped up a little bit, I would have given it a perfect 5, but I've definitely got to give it a 4 because the head inclusion alone bumped it up to a 3, if, in all honesty. So the rest of the stuff are just trimmings, no pun intended. So yeah, really good, and like I say, quite an easy 4 out of 5. So well done to them, because I think they've done a very classy set. Moving straight on to value then. The information I've got here is from Owen, so don't quote me because I'm quoting him. He told me he paid $390 plus $30 shipping. So that's $420, which converts to 250 English pounds, which I think for a custom piece, I think is good value, particularly when it brought quite a lot. Like I said, the box is not presentational, but it's functional. So everything all into account, it's pretty much an equivalent of a mass-produced figure, which I think if they're going to charge these sort of prices and upwards, they should be willing to compete with the big boys. That's the way I see it, and this does, because I can think of Hot Toys releases that didn't even bring off the stuff that this brought. So like I said, the value for me is really good. It is high-end, I suppose, or sort of bottom run of the high-end ladder, but I would think, well, I looked on eBay before I started filming this, and on the UK version of eBay, you cannot buy this figure. So I'm thinking that even if you found it on the on the USA version of eBay, you're going to be paying a lot more than 250 quid. So for that reason, I'm going to bump the value right up, along with the fact that, like I said, you did get a lot of bang for your buck. And it weren't of a price to start with, I feel. I think it was fairly priced, and I think the price will have gone up. So I am going to give the value a 4 out of 5. What would have given it a 5 out of 5? Well, if it said the price had doubled or tripled, or it had been less to start with, then I would have said, yeah. If they'd have released this at, say, fucking, I'll pull a figure out the air, say they released it at £150 and then it's gone to £450, then I'd have given it a 5 out of 5. But like I say, still a 4 out of 5 on value is a really, really good score when you're talking about a £250 figure. So I'll sum it up and tell you that this figure got 28 out of a possible 35, which I think might be the highest scoring custom figure that I've ever done. Possibly alongside Jimmy, I think. I can't really remember off the top of my head. I'm buzzing to have seen it, because like I said, sometimes, and me in particular, get wrapped up in the mass-produced stuff. I do like to see custom stuff, although a lot of time I think to myself, I won't buy it. Even if it were available, I won't buy it. I've got to honestly say that if I could find this, or if I were in the market for this at the £250 initial price, I would pick this up, which is saying a lot for me, because it's not really a character or license that instantly draws me to it. But now I see the figure is that good, it would be a very tempting purchase for me. So, like I said, a 28 out of a possible 35 is in sort of 25 and above. I always say is a top score for any figure, because it lost 3 points on the packaging, it lost 2 points on the source material. So you take into account all the important categories such as the head sculpt, the outfit, the body, it scored really well. So massive shout out to Owen again, massive shout out to McG, MG, sorry, Mike, whatever you want to be called, Iron Gate, Artisan, whatever. Buzzing to have seen this figure. I hope you guys watch this review. I know sometimes it's easy to get caught up in Hot Toys and not see anything else, but I do always think it's worth checking this review out at least once, just to educate yourself. But for now, this is Uncle Clipper, or Uncle Rick, whatever you want to call me, and the Grinch, and we're out of here.